Every once in a while, you stumble upon a story that's just packed with so much drama and rivalry and heart, you can't believe it's real. Well, this is one of those. But here's the thing. Our source material isn't some polished documentary. It's hundreds of lines of raw chat logs from an online Formula One racing league. In this explainer, we're going to piece together those conversations and tell the incredible story of their most dramatic season ever. All right, let's get into it.
And that really gets to the heart of this whole thing. It's a story about community. As one of the members, Marinoro, said, their group is molto più compatta. It's much more compact, much more tight-knit than other leagues. It's this small group of friends who are also fierce rivals. And that closeness, well, it's what makes the wins feel so amazing and the problems feel so personal.
So here's how we're going to break it down. We're going to follow the entire story of their 27th season. We'll start at the very beginning, with the decisions that set everything in motion. Then, we'll dive into the incredible championship battle that defined the year. After that, we'll look at some of the wild, chaotic, experimental races they tried before we get to the crisis that almost brought the whole league down. And finally, we'll see how it all ended and ask what's next.
Okay, so our story actually starts before anyone even turned a wheel, with a really big debate that would end up shaping the entire season.
So, the big question they had to tackle was participation. For a while, they'd been racing every single week, and it was starting to take a toll. The league organizer, Magicorla, he pushed for a change. His logic was pretty simple. If we slow down the pace, if we race every 2 weeks, maybe we can have more attendance. The goal for everyone was clear. Keep the league going strong and make sure the grids were full.
In the end, the community voted to go with the bi-weekly schedule. And that set them up for a real marathon, a 15-race season that would stretch all the way from September to April. And just to spice things up, they added a little twist. Every 5 races, drivers would automatically be assigned new cars. So the stage was set for this long, grueling test of both skill and commitment.
All right, with the rules set, let's get to the on-track action. Because while there were a lot of drivers on the grid, the season very quickly became this intense, head-to-head fight for the championship.
And nothing, I mean nothing, captures this rivalry better than what happened at the 4th race in Portugal. The conditions were just biblical. A total downpour from start to finish. And in the wet, with no DRS, it's all about pure driver skill. It was the perfect stage for a showdown between the 2 title contenders, Magicorla and Falco 7BG.
You can just feel the sheer frustration in Magicorla's recap of that race. I mean, imagine this. He had built up a massive 50-second lead. The win was his. But then an AI car crashes, which triggers a red flag, and that resets the entire race, wiping out his lead completely. And the crazy part? It didn't just happen once. It happened 2 more times. He had to fight for the same win over and over again. So after 5 rounds of this constant back and forth, this is what the championship looked like. Magicorla and Falco 7BG were separated by just a few points. We're talking razor-thin margins. Every single pole position, every fastest lap, it all mattered. It was this incredible battle that was going to stretch across the entire 8-month season.
But this season wasn't just about pure, straightforward racing. Oh no. The organizers decided to throw a few curveballs into the mix, with special events that were basically designed to create as much chaos as possible. The key to all this chaos was something called the griglia invertita, or the reversed grid. The idea is simple and kinda nuts. Instead of qualifying, you line up for the race based on the championship standings, but in reverse. So the driver in first place in the championship starts dead last. It just completely flips everything on its head and forces the fastest drivers to fight their way through the pack.
So, did it work? Oh yeah, absolutely. Here's a quote from another driver, Marco Duff, after one of these races in Mexico. Even though he had some bad luck, he said he had fun like crazy. He just loved that unpredictable chaos it created. These events were a massive hit. It just goes to show, sometimes you gotta break the rules to have the most fun.
But they didn't stop there. They decided to get even crazier. For round 12, they tried their most ambitious event yet, a reversed grid race at 100% length, a true endurance test. But this experiment kinda backfired. The race actually hit the game's 2-hour time limit before they could finish, ending abruptly and causing a bug that totally scrambled the results. It was another layer of chaos, sure, but this time it came from the game itself, not the rules.
And this is where the story takes a turn. Because underneath that thrilling title fight and all the fun experiments, a really serious problem was growing, one that threatened the very future of the league.
3. This is the number that really defines this whole crisis. This is how many races had to be straight up canceled during the championship.
And look, this wasn't a fluke.
a pattern started to emerge. In December, they canceled round 7. Then in February, round 11 was gone. And in March, round 13. Every single time, it was the same story. They just couldn't get enough drivers available to hold a race. That big decision they made at the start of the season, it wasn't working. The league was losing people.
After that third cancellation, Falco 7BG, one of the 2 guys fighting for the championship, he says something that just stops you in your tracks. Temo que F1 andrá a morire, which means, I fear that F1 is going to die. It's just a gut punch. All of a sudden, the fight for points and trophies seemed completely meaningless compared to the fight to just survive.
And Magicorla's response? It's just that of a leader trying to hold everything together. He basically says, let's just finish this championship, then we'll talk. He puts the huge, scary question on the shelf, just to focus on getting to the finish line. That exchange, it just hangs there. It's this moment of real, unscripted tension, and the future's totally up in the air.
So, facing all that uncertainty, with the real possibility of failure looming over them, the community had a choice. Just let it all fall apart, or push through to the end. They chose to race, they rallied for those final rounds, and after a grueling 8-month season, here are the final results. Magic Orla managed to hang on and become the champion. His great rival, Falco 7BG, took a very hard-fought second place, and Marco Duff and Coglia rounded out the top 4, which is a real testament to their own consistency all season long.
But what's really incredible to me is that even in those last few high-pressure races, with the league's future in doubt, that core spirit was still there. After the second-to-last race, Marco Duff wasn't talking about points. He was talking about having a blast, about just having fun. And when you get right down to it, that was what it was all about in the first place.
So, after this roller coaster of a season that pushed them right to the edge, what can we take away from the story of F1 Championship 27? I mean, when you step back, this season really had everything. It gave us this spectacular season-long title fight. It showed off some amazing creativity with those chaotic special events. But it also showed us the harsh reality of trying to run a community with that constant struggle against low attendance and the pain of canceling events. And through it all, it showed this incredible resilience, this drive to finish what they started.
Which leaves us with this one big question. The chat logs we looked at tell the complete story of one season, but they leave the next chapter totally unwritten. It's a question that applies to so many online groups just like this one. Groups built on passion, held together by sheer will, and always just one tough season away from disappearing. What does the future hold? Well, I guess the answer is waiting in their next chat log. Thanks for watching.